Hello, this is Dr. Cindy Schreiber, and today I am lecturing on the Forgiveness Solution, Day 4 of the 30-Day Sobriety Solution. If you're doing this online, just listen once a day, and if you want to take each chapter and use it for a week, do that. Whatever it is, just stay on the process and make sure you do the first few chapters before you go through it. This is something you really don't want to skip around with because one leads to the other as far as building stamina and strength in your life. This chapter is exciting. The forgiveness solution. Oh, how I've worked with forgiveness in my life and with my clients. Forgiveness is a major, major thing in life. And I'm actively working right now to forgive my daughter. That's right. And to forgive myself for ever taking it on. We got divided with politics, and there's been a lot said and a lot done. But I'm to the point of I'd rather have a great relationship with my daughter than to be right all the time. All I know is forgiveness frees us. I don't have to like what they did, but I can let the past go and I can give myself better boundaries for the moment. And this is how forgiveness works. But today we're going to embrace forgiveness, creating an abundant and a life of love and happiness. Now, this is straight out of the book, The 30-Day Solution, by Jack Canfield, the Chicken Soup for the Soul guy. And this saying is, when we forgive, we set a prisoner free and discover that the prisoner we set free is us. How many times have we been upset because somebody did this or said that to us, and we think about it for days, and then we hold it in and we never get it out? Some people live as if they have a ball and a chain tied to them. That's right. And if they could actually free themselves from this extra weight, their future would be full of promise and opportunity. Perhaps this rings true for you. Maybe you're tied to past anger, fear, or pain, full of regret from not doing the things you said you would do. Releasing this ball and chain is often the final step in completing your past so that you can embrace your future. I was listening to Wayne Dyer this morning, one of my mentors. He has passed away, but he really changed my life with your erroneous zones. 30 years ago, when I was raising my daughter as a single parent, I had a lot of self-esteem issues, and boy, he really nailed it on forgiving yourself and forgiving others. Forgiving yourself and forgiving others. And I was listening to him this morning, and part of what he said was, you wake up and you think, I've lost all this time. I've been an addict for all these years. I can't recover. There's too much I've done. There's too much that's been said. There's too many patterns that have happened. And Wayne Dyer says, no, this was all for your growth. All of these setbacks were times that you were learning, and they're lessons. That's right. So it's never too late. And that's what you have to know, that you are at the right place in the here and now, right here. So we found that it's something simple to forgive a parent, a best friend, for past hurts and transgressions. It can be one of the single most effective solutions for cutting back on drinking or using drugs or stopping altogether. The truth is, we need to let go of the past to embrace the future. And this forgiveness solution will provide you with proven techniques to finally accomplish this. Now, we accept the sobriety we think we deserve. And here's something else. I think we all wish we could erase some dark times in our lives. But all of these experiences, the good ones and the bad ones, make you who you are. Erasing any of life experiences would be a great mistake. And this is by Louis Miguel, singer, songwriter. We accept the love we think we deserve is a quote from his book, Stephen Cosby. And the later book, The Perks of Being a Wallflower, is brilliant in its simplicity, yet it doesn't apply just to love. You can also accept the sobriety you think you deserve. If you don't think you deserve to be sober, or you don't think you deserve to thrive in society, you will never attract it or accept it into your life. You might get close to reaching it and be on the outsides of it, the coveted thriving in sobriety state of mind. But then self-sabotage will eventually kick in. And why does it kick in? Well, you get these overwhelming feelings of guilt from using. And when you tell yourself you're going to quit and you miss the mark many, many times, after a while you start to feel full of shame. And this shame causes you to go right back into using. That's right back in. And that's the guilt. And this is the guilt and shame cycle. You feel guilty for what you've done in the past. And then you feel this shame, like I'm a problem drinker, or I'm a problem drug user. And it only adds to the guilt and the shame. Let's just take a deep breath, everybody, right here. Let's just slow down. When you forgive yourself, you can finally heal this pain. You can move forward. Guilt is that feeling that occurs when you behave in ways that don't match your beliefs. That's right. For example, you believe you should stop using, and you say you're going to stop, but then you use again. Then you feel guilty. Here's the pattern. Then the shame is much stronger feeling. The shame is a feeling that isn't even in the dictionary because other cultures don't have it. America knows how to shame and guilt you. And you feel this shame like, I am unworthy. I am flawed. I can't do it. And you embrace the shame. That's right. And then the shame becomes part of you. And the shame is this belief that you are flawed and others pick up on it. You just have this empty look and these overall feelings of emptiness. You walk with your shoulders slumped and you manifest this in your life. That's right. This could have come from some events from your childhood, and it just goes to experience this suffering. Now, one of the greatest challenges of the suffering is that you can become addicted to it. That's right. Can you imagine addicted to suffering? That's right. Today you're going to learn an effective technique that is at the core of the forgiveness solution, the total truth process. Right. Now here's one of the tools, okay? This is a powerful emotional healing process. This is from the best-selling author John Gray and Barbara DeAngelis. That's right. The total truth process. Originally, I was a happy drunk, but later I was miserable because it was a depressant. I was just ashamed of myself, really. And this is from the actor Ewan McGregor. I didn't say his name right, but you know who I'm talking about. Anyways, this simple but powerful tool will help you to release those ball and chain negative emotions from the past and return you to your natural state of joy and love in the present moment. For many of you, finally freeing yourself from past hurts, humiliation, guilt, shame, and resentments would be one of the most important things you could do in this 30-day solution. Let me say that again. For most of you, many of you, I would say all of you, finally freeing yourself from past hurts, humiliations, all from your life, your childhood, guilt, shame, and resentments will be one of the most important things you can do in the 30-day solution. This is why you become like a new person. The reason this process is called the total truth is that when we're upset, we often don't communicate the totality of our true feelings, especially to the person we're most upset with. We get stuck in the negative emotions of anger or hurt, and rarely are we able to move past that to a complete emotional state, to a more complete emotional state. We stuff it down. The total truth process helps you to gain more of a natural emotional state that brings you back to the closeness, the thoughtfulness, and the caring you truly feel towards someone else. Now, the intention of this process is not to purge or dump your negative emotions onto another person, but to move through these emotions, to release them, returning to your natural state of being. This is about forgiving yourself. Your natural state is one of love and acceptance. Creativity and joy can easily flow from you in this natural state. It's like a child playing in a very stable environment. And it is only in this state of mind that thriving in sobriety can be a full reality in your life. That's right. One of the reasons the truth process, the total truth process, is so incredibly effective is because it includes all the stages of the natural process you need to go through to reach a true state of forgiveness. Now, when you apply this process, you ensure you don't get stuck on any stage, especially the initial stage of anger or resentment, which can easily happen. When you get stuck at this stage of anger and resentment, you desire a drink or a drug. Drinking or drugging helps you temporarily escape these negative feelings. That's it in a nutshell. How many times have I gone by bars and seen people drinking during the day? Now, drinking has never been my thing, okay? Because it actually makes me sick if I have more than one or two, even one at this age. But I'm going to tell you something. There's some people that the drinking is just that fix, and you will see them in the bar. And it's so funny because yesterday I was walking past a bar and I almost walked in there because there's people I know in this town. And I almost walked in there. I said, how would it feel to just go order a drink and talk to these people for a couple of minutes? But then because it's not a habit for me or a desire, I thought about it. And then I thought, no, you'll just feel uncomfortable in there and you want to get the heck out. Yeah, maybe one drink will feel great, but why do you want to sit there and talk? These people sit in there for hours to escape. And all the money that goes into that, no, thank you. So drinking helps you temporarily escape the negative feelings, but drinking is a depressant. And of course, drinking is an ineffective solution because it masks the feelings. And when you mask things, they can never be resolved or released. Now, when you use the total truth process, you will clear all these feelings so that you can finally be at peace with the issue. It only takes 1 second to stop drinking. 1 second to make that decision in your mind, I'm done, and it's over with. Then what you do is the process of the pages here. Yes, it is called work. You have to work for anything that you want, but what a great release in your life to finally be who you are. That's right, to finally let go of it. This can work for depression. Sometimes when you have depression, this can work too. And when you have depression, it's the same thing. You will just go back to it every day. It's a habit, and those habits are what really keep you stuck. So remember that when you are stuck, that you just go and you go back through your program. You start in with it and you just continue it. As long as you don't forgive who and whatever it will occur, they get the rent-free space in your mind. You've heard that before. You just think about the person that hurt you, or you think about using and how guilty you feel. And it takes up all this space and time. Now, you can do the total truth process verbally or write it as a letter. With this program, you really want to have your journal to write these things out. They're so very important. However you decide to do the process, your goal is to communicate and release your anger and hurt, which allows you to move towards love and forgiveness. That's right. Releasing the anger and the hurt. How would you like to feel great every time you wake up? This can happen within days of stopping. This can really happen. In the early stages of cutting back or actually quitting, you may find yourself in a bit of an emotional roller coaster because you're doing something new. It may feel odd. It may feel like work to get up and do your journaling and do your steps. You're in an emotional, volatile state. It's best that you don't do the total truth process with another person. Instead, we recommend that you wait until after you've completed the 30-day sobriety solution to do this particular process in person with someone. That's right. Right now, you find the simple act of writing down your emotions in the form of a truth letter. You don't send this to the person. It is all you need to do in order to move back to your natural state of love and joy. So here's where you get your journals, and you want to write these steps down. That's right, the stages of the total truth process. Acknowledge your anger and resentment. You would write, I am angry that, and then finish it. I hate it when, finish it. I am fed up with, finish it. I resent, finish it. And then acknowledge the hurt and pain it created. It hurt me when, I felt sad when, I felt hurt that, I feel disappointed about. Then acknowledge the fears and self-doubts that it created. I was afraid that, finish the statement. I get afraid of you when, finish the statement. I feel scared when, finish the statement. I am afraid that, I, finish the statement. Own any part of you that may have been let's say this. Own any part that you might have played in letting it occur or letting it continue. I am sorry that. Please forgive me for. I am sorry for. I didn't mean to. Now express what you wanted that you didn't get or what you want now. All I ever wanted. Fill in the blanks. I want you to. Fill in the blanks. I want or wanted to. I deserve. Fill in the blanks. Understand where the other person was or is coming from and forgive him or her. There's a beautiful Hawaiian song, and I forget how it goes, but the gist is, forgive me, I love you, I'm sorry. And those words, so many times, it will heal the entire situation when someone hears, forgive me, I love you, I'm sorry. Now, put yourself in the other person's shoes and attempt to understand where he or she is coming from at that time. Also acknowledge what needs the person was trying to meet, however inelegantly by his or her behavior. And you will say, I understand in your journal that, fill in the blanks. I appreciate, fill in the blanks. I love you for, fill it in. I forgive you for, fill in the blanks. Thank you for, fill in the blanks. Now, with this journal, this is your first action step today. Think about this person that you hold the most anger or resentment toward and begin with that one person. Don't be surprised if the 2 stages are painful to work through. John Green, the author of the young adult novel The Fault in Our Stars, captures this best when he writes, that's the thing about pain. It demands to be felt. Feel it and let it go. And let go of the story, as we mentioned yesterday in the pendulum solution. Sometimes you have to feel those painful emotions to move forward. You have to really feel them. And that's what we say as therapists. Look at it, feel it, integrate it, let it go. In order to have a breakthrough today, folks, like most of problem druggies and drinkers, you need to focus on forgiving yourself first and foremost. So you may want to do the total truth process with yourself. I would highly recommend it. Also, make sure to write a total truth letter to each of your parents who raised you, whether they're alive or not. Make sure to address any feelings left over from your childhood, especially any that were traumatic. Now, Dr. Wayne Dyer gives the example of he was raised in an orphanage. He had a pretty rough comeuppance, and he totally resented his father for leaving his mother, and he never even met his father, but he was determined to go to his grave one day because he knew where he was buried, and he was going to really tell him off, and he was prepared to spend hours there if he had to really get everything out of how his father had hurt him so deeply. And he gets to the graveyard, and he gets to the grave, and he looks at his father's name, and he fell apart. And he said, Father, I don't know why you did what you did. I wasn't there. I wasn't you. But I forgive you, Dad. I forgive you. I forgive all of the pain I've suffered. I let go of the stories. I don't know why you did what you did, but I want to tell you I'm grateful for my life. I'm grateful that you gave me life. And even though it's been hard, coming up the hard way taught me many lessons about independence. And I want to thank you for giving me life. He left the graveyard, and he felt like a great weight had been lifted off of him. The baggage he'd been carrying all those years of resenting his father. And Wayne Dyer went out and wrote his book, Your Erroneous Zones. And this book, he'd had a block and he couldn't start it. He went out and he wrote that book in 2 weeks. That's right, 2 weeks. And he loaded those up in the back of his car. And he went to all of these community centers and Unity Spiritual Churches, and he took the book in the back of his car and sold it out of his car. And that is the story of how Dr. Wayne Dyer got started. He came up from a really rough beginning, and he chose forgiveness, and it changed his life. It changed his life perfectly. Finally, if you are really ready to live a life of love, passion, and joy, make a list of everyone you have anger toward. Anyone, family members, teachers, classmates, relatives. Over time, work through the list. You don't need to do it all today. That's impossible. But keep that in your journal and come back and visit it. That's right. Don't worry, because the importance of this topic, we will revisit parts of it on day 27 in the love and relationship issue series solution. Forgive and move on. That's right. You can forgive and move on. Papa J said that in this book, and it was about a thief, and they said it was in his pocket all the time. The diamonds were in his pocket. It was such a cute story. It's all convoluted the way I'm saying it, but the thing I remember from that book was this. Things happen, sufferings happen, but we tell ourselves these stories, and these stories are just so full of tragedy and pain and us being a victim and them being monsters, and we go on and on. Especially, say, a breakup. How many I had when I was single? Oh my gosh, I can't tell you how many times my heart was crushed, broken, used, abused. And guess what? I tried this method. A man, when I was going through my divorce that I was dating, finally told me this relationship was not working for him. And I felt really bad, but I remembered that book I was reading. And honest to God, Papa J said, just don't attach a story to it. Let yourself feel the feelings. And I felt bad. And then I started to giggle because I felt bad for 2 minutes. 2 minutes. And I was done. There was nothing on me, no low self-esteem, no I miss you, oh my gosh, why didn't it work out? I let him go as a friend. And he turned out to be a great friend. That's right, a great friend. And I dropped the drama. I dropped the story. And boy, that changed my life, and I hope it'll work for you. In order to move and let go and move on, you need to come to this place of forgiveness and love, especially when you're dealing with your family and important friends and your career. Maybe your best friend lied to you. Maybe a coworker gossiped about you or took full credit for your project. Maybe your spouse had an affair and then treated you badly during the divorce. Been there, done that. Or maybe a business partner made a bad decision and ruined you financially. You need to forgive each and every one of the people who hurt you, who somehow hurt you in the past. Forgiving does not mean that you need to forget what happened or condone the person's actions or behavior or even trust them again. But in order to move on, you need to just forgive the person for whatever he or she did. Learn whatever lessons it is and let it go. Some people you have to let go because they're very toxic. They're very narcissistic. Sometimes they're family members. You have to distance a bit. But forgive yourself. In order to attain this total freedom, you need to forgive yourself. Forgive the pain and harm you may have caused others. You know what they say in AA meetings? You're as sick as your secrets, and all the problems you've caused for people, that there's that one step where you have to ask forgiveness from people. This is in the 12-step program, that you do ask forgiveness for the people. So just forgive yourself for continually telling your loved ones that you would cut back or stop and never following through. Forgive yourself for the mistakes you might have made, the stealing, the lying, the cheating, whatever it is that you've done in your past because of drugs or alcohol. Forgive yourself for the harm you've done to your body, your career, your finances by drinking. You haven't lost time. You're right where you need to be. All of the drinking was the time you needed to regroup, the lessons you needed, the learnings. When you forgive yourself and others, you release the past. Tony Robbins, one of the most influential teachers of this generation, reminds us constantly, the past does not equal the future. You always have the opportunity to change your life right this minute. The past is the past. It does not determine who you are or what you will be in the future. Your power is in the present moment. And if you're living in the present, then you're able to choose and attract good things into your life. I live here in Hollywood, and one day I saw Tony Robbins. He was looking probably at this old Victorian house that I'd been looking at. They redid it, and it was just beautiful on the street. And I was walking by, and he looked at me, and it was so funny because I've seen him on TV, I've seen him in magazines. He has this undeniable look, and he's like 6'7". But the funny part was, he looked at me as if I was somebody influential. He looked at me with the greatest admiration, and I thought, here this little woman is walking down the street and Tony Robbins is looking at me. He probably thought, come to my seminar, Cindy. But it was so funny. You always have the opportunity to change your life right in the moment. And you are in the present. Then you're able to choose and attract things into your life. Thousands of people in our seminars, this is from this book, and coaching practice have experienced enormous and unexpected benefits when they finally truly forgave someone. It's related to mind-body. You can release migraines that you've had for years within minutes. You can find immediate relief from persistent pain. Maybe you're able to sleep through the entire night for the first time. And you know what? All of this relaxation leads to less consumption of drugs, and soon you're not on anything, because being sober is okay. You're comfortable in your own skin. You've forgiven yourself. You have your right place in life. That's right. And I give these stories in here in this book. The forgiveness affirmation. Here it is. You're going to want to write this one down. This is your filing technique to forgive. Is to recite this affirmation several times each day. So put this in your journal where you can pick it up. This is your work for this week or today, however many times you do this. I release myself from all demands and judgments that have kept me limited. I release myself from all the demands and judgments, I'll give you time to write, that have kept me limited. I allow myself to be free. I allow myself to be free. To live in joy. I allow myself to be free to live in joy, love, peace, and sobriety. I allow myself to create fulfilling relationships, to have success in my life, to experience pleasure, and I know I am worthy. I allow myself to create fulfilling relationships, to have success in my life, to experience pleasure, to know that I am worthy, and to deserve what I have. I am now free. I release all others from any demands and expectations I have placed on them. I know that I am worthy and deserve to have what I want. I am now free. I release everyone from any demands and expectations I have placed on them. I choose to be free. I allow others to be free. I forgive myself, and I forgive them. And so it is. Now, this affirmation, I'm going to go through the whole thing again and listen to me. I release myself from all the demands and judgments that have kept me limited. I allow myself to be free, to live in joy, love, peace, and sobriety. I allow myself to create fulfilling relationships, to have success in my life, and to experience pleasure, to know that I am worthy, and deserve what I have and want. I am now free. Freedom. I release all others from any demands and expectations I have placed on them. I choose to be free. I allow others to be free. I forgive them. And so it is. Now, just like the 30-day vision statements you've already written, we recommend that you include this at the beginning of your journal and read it out loud at least once a day for the next 2 weeks. This is your forgiveness affirmation. Read this statement out loud for the next 2 weeks. That's right. And this is a statement by Brian. It's taken me years to let go of the terrible shame. I wouldn't change a thing because it brought me here today. Without all that pain, I would not be the same person. However, I speak to many addicts all the time, and what I probably tell them most often is it's not your fault. I know you feel like it's your fault. I know everyone tells you it's your fault. I know everyone's hurt and angry with you. I know you've done bad things. But the only thing within your control is to seek help to stop. And this is Kristen Johnson, the actor and author of Guts, The Endless Follies, Tiny Triumphs of a Giant Disaster, and founder of SLAM, Sobriety, Learning, and Motivation. And there's some stories in here that go on. I know that I could be my family sitting there at my funeral. In an instant, I made several decisions. I decided I would never forget the path that drinking or addiction can lead you down. I decided I would never take my sobriety or the sobriety of others for granted. I decided that if anyone ever asked for help, I was in a position to help them. I would never turn them away. And I decided that if drinking and using drugs for 17 years had any kind of upside, it was that the first-hand experience could help me to know how others feel. And this person says, a short time later, I made the decision that changed my life forever. I decided there had to be another solution for recovery. And that was the moment that the initial idea to research and eventually create the 30-day sobriety solution that came from. Over the years, I have given a lot of thought to what might have been going on through Brian's mind in those final hours before he took his own life. This was the story I didn't read to you. It isn't hard for me to imagine the overwhelming guilt and shame he must have felt after failing again, after letting down his wife, kids, family, and friends. We all know of somebody who's committed suicide. In the end, I believe the reason he took his life was he was unable to truly recover from the guilt and shame of his past. How many people have taken their lives because they felt like they were worthless? And their depression got so bad and the voices in their head, they just couldn't take it anymore. If you ask me if I felt much guilt or shame over my drinking or drugging before I got sober, I would have said no. Overall, I didn't think that I was in denial about my issues, but clearly I was in denial about how much guilt and shame I had. Once I realized, the author of the book, that so many other normal people struggled with drinking and addiction, I felt a light turn on inside of me as I heard their stories. I realized I had been dimming that light through my drinking for years because of how much blame and shame I held on to. So again, it's about letting go, finding a way to forgive yourself, a way to get to that happy place. Love your addiction, love yourself. Holding on to anger and resentment is like drinking poison and expecting someone else to die. We've heard that one before. That's right. This brings us to the final topic, loving yourself. Poisoning your body with a drug almost daily and judging yourself for your inability to quit or control the drinking or drugging and beating yourself up for your mistakes all lead to one end result. You stop loving yourself, and worse, in the end, you begin to hate yourself. This is why I'm here today, folks. Life is so beautiful, and I don't want you to off yourself, and I don't want you to suffer with years of addiction. I am making these for you for free to look at yourself, to to just do something for yourself today. You know, I was watching that movie on the tsunami that was in 2024, I think, in the Christmas Eve of 2024. And it made me realize all those people weren't aware that the tsunami was coming, and all the people, the beautiful young hot bodies lying on the beach. 100,000 people were killed that day. And there were all kinds of people on those beaches over near Thailand. There were the rich with all their fancy luggage. There was the cruise ship. There were the very poor. There were indigenous people to the island. There were happy people. There were honeymooners. There were young people. There were all kind of people in those markets. But when that tsunami hit with no warning, it was random. Some died, some didn't. It just depended on what the universe had in store for you that day. And what makes me think about that is life is so short, people. And if a tsunami hits, an earthquake or whatever, and we're gone in 1 second, we're all the same. Didn't matter that you had that hot swinging body, that you had so much money, that you had more money than God, that you cheated people to have all that money to make sure your family had the best. It was your freeway, your cars, your jets, your fancy life. You know what? When that tsunami hit, it didn't judge. It just hit. And that's how life is. Once it's over, it's gone. We all can take in a deep breath right now and just begin to relax. That's right. Just relax. You cannot change the fact that you spend every minute of every day of your life with yourself. The old you was unlivable. That's why you took the drugs. The new you is going to thrive. I just know it. I just know it. I love myself. This is so important. Love loves people right where they are. You know how they say at AA meetings, you tell people all your flaws and they say, come on, come in for a big hug. It's the only place where you can go where they love you in spite of your flaws. The problem, it's important to understand that your desire to use drugs or drink actually comes from a positive intention. You want to feel good. You want to feel good. It's a human nature to want to feel good. That's why when I saw that bar and I was walking down the street yesterday, I thought, wouldn't it be fun to go in and sit down and talk to the people? But because it wasn't my habit and I didn't have a problem, I said, no, I'd rather just get down there to CVS and get some ice cream and get back home. Now, the problem is that using drinking as a solution to feel good is flawed. Over time, the drinking ruins your health, contributes to depression, and causes accidents, as you know, rather than connecting you to others. It separates you from others. Most importantly, it disconnects you from loving and caring for yourself. So, love yourself. Here's a book, Like Your Life Depends on It. And really, to get out of this addiction, your life does depend on it. If you experience discomfort by saying you love yourself, it only validates the importance of doing this. Ask yourself, what would you do with your life if you were deeply and truly in love with yourself? What would you do if you loved yourself like a parent loves a child? Or like a child loves his or her mother? What would you want your child or spouse or loved one to use drugs the way you did? Now consider this for a minute. Close your eyes. Sometimes we just don't realize how little we love ourselves. So the day action steps are, in life, pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. There are not victims, only volunteers. That's Tony Robbins. There you go. So what you need to take away from today is simple and powerful. You use drugs for many reasons. That's why it's just not one stop fits for all. It's a very complicated thing, especially with dope addiction and the higher level drugs. There's many levels of pain. That's the reason, undoubtedly, this includes guilt, shame, and pain from past events. Every time you used, guilt and shame weighed more heavily on you the more you do it. And eventually the alcohol stopped working, or the drugs, to become your solution to mask your problems. Instead, it amplified them. To thrive in society, you need to accept and become aware of this. Forgive yourself and others. You're beginning to love yourself again. Now, to complete the truth process, you want to go through the 6 steps of the total truth process that I went through with you. You can listen to this again to write them down. Be sure to focus on forgiving yourself and forgiving others who are responsible for any traumatic events. I am a hypnotherapist and I have done a lot of weight loss for clients, and it's never about overeating, especially if they're 50 pounds plus. There's always a trauma attached. And how many people told me Papa was a preacher, and then what happened to them from the preacher? Okay, rapes. Yes, they hide it, and then they stuff themselves with food when they're adults. So we have to process all this stuff and help them with PTSD, help people to feel the pain, and then to let it go. That's right. So this total truth process, you go through these steps. Be sure to focus on forgiving yourself and others who are responsible for any traumatic events. Now, practice a forgiveness affirmation, which is I love myself mantra. You know the mantra that we went through and you slowly wrote it down? Say that once a day. That's right. For as long as it takes, at least 4 days. Be sure to visit the companion. There's a website, http Day 4 Solutions, to review additional support material. And folks, I just want to end this with a short little breathing trance exercise. You know, meditation is another form of hypnotherapy. It just helps you to relax and feel centered and let go to all those thoughts. Now, just take a few deep breaths. Slowly release them. Picture this healing light at the top of your head and your head opening to accept it. It's a healing universe loving you today. You're at the right place. Let this light relax your head. Feel yourself relaxing just a little bit. Going down, down, down. Feel this light going through the top of your head. Relaxing your head. Feel your neck relaxing. That's right. Now feel this warm healing light in through your top shoulders. This is where all the stress is, right in the neck and the shoulders. Just breathe into this just for a moment. That's right. Just relax. Now we're going to go to your heart space. Just feel your heart so full today of hope. Just taking your thoughts to your heart brain. Right there, they have brain membranes in your heart. This is where your thinking goes from now on. Into your heart. Let your heart, your wise heart, speak to you through the day. And relax. Feel your heart saying, I love you. I love you. I forgive you. I forgive myself. I forgive others. I love you, higher power, or the highest part of me, whatever you believe. Love is there. Feel the love now. It's so perfect and peaceful when we go to these meditations. Peace, be still. That's right. Just unwind a little, take a few deep breaths in. And know I did great work today. I am healed, I am loved, I am wonderful. I forgive myself for judging myself. I know I can do this. I love myself. And today I release all of the tension in my body, in my mind, and in my soul. It's a new day. Yes. Yes, I can, and by God, I will. Counting from 1 to 5. Waking up. number 1. Number 2, awake, alive, alert, enthusiastic. Number 3, coming back. Number 4, having gone for the gold. And 5, back to the room and wide awake. I love you. I will talk to you tomorrow for your next session. Namaste. See you in your dreams.